Imagine this right now. You're in silence, your phone tossed aside, the window open to the distant sound of the city, but your attention goes beyond the noise and everyday weariness. For a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel. Feel, with all your intensity, the strange sensation that, even alone, something is watching you. It's not paranoia. It's not fear. It's as if, behind the banal events, there's always someone observing. But that someone is you. A pause. Let that feeling wash over you. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like to get access to more stories like this. Remember the times when everything seemed to lose meaning, the moment an unexpected tragedy shattered your life, or that out-of-place joy you couldn't explain. What if, for real, nothing was by chance? What if every detail of your journey, that difficult childhood, that unusual encounter, that sudden loss, was architected before you were even born? This is far from just a story. Stick with me until the end of this video, and who knows, you might never look at your life the same way again. And before we go on, I have a favor to ask you. If this beginning made you curious, if it made you remember something inexplicable from your own story, like this video now, subscribe to the channel and share in the comments a moment in your life that, looking back, seems like so much more than a coincidence. Together, we can create a space for powerful reflection, and every click you make helps this content reach more people who are ready to awaken. Let's change the consciousness of those seeking real answers. But now, open your eyes, because the time has come to look at life through the eyes of the soul. Only those who have felt that existential emptiness know. At some point in life, everyone stops and asks, "Why am I here? What am I doing in this strange world full of pain and doubts, where answers always seem to slip through your fingers?" Maybe until now you've believed that life is just a sequence of disconnected accidents. But what if it's not? What if it's the exact opposite? Imagine, one last time tonight, a timeline that starts not with your birth but long before. A deep, intense desire to experience precisely the pains you tried to avoid, the loves that rescued you, and even the enemies who crossed your path. Imagine that before everything began, you had already written the entire script of your existence. Sounds crazy? Keep going, because this is just the starting point of a journey inward. Reality, however solid it may seem, is more fragile than an interrupted dream. The veil will fall, and new questions will emerge. Now imagine, your eyes closed, the outside world dissolving, and you crossing an invisible boundary. It's not death, it's a return. Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, one of the most studied mystics in modern history, advocated a surprising and deeply uncomfortable idea. Before your body had a name, a history, an identity, your soul already existed. Hovering in a timeless space, it made choices. Choices about experiences, pains, loves, failures, and lessons. Cayce, capable of entering deep trances and accessing accounts of other people's past lives, posed a devastating question. Have you ever stopped to think why you were born into this home, with this family, with these specific fears and talents? According to him, nothing is luck, nothing is an accident, nothing is blind punishment. Every experience was chosen for a reason. Let's admit it, it's hard to believe this idea at first glance. Why would anyone choose to suffer? Why plan a path that includes losses, pains, diseases, breakups? It's easier to accept that we exist by chance, the product of genetics and events beyond our control. It's comforting to imagine that we have nothing to do with the pains we live through. But Cayce challenges. What if, deep down, you feel that you've been here before? What if the déjà vu that haunts you isn't just brain chemistry, but a remnant of a memory of other scripts written by you yourself? Maybe some questions are starting to simmer inside you. Is it possible that I desired this name, this body, this historical time, this destiny with so many trials? Why do so many challenges repeat since childhood? Why do some people seem to have been born to test me or to save me? Imagine for a brief moment that you yourself, before a kind of soul council, reviewed the lessons you needed to learn, the loves you needed to experience again, the pride you should dissolve, the fear you had to transmute, that you looked at Earth as a training ground to develop virtues, courage, compassion, forgiveness, detachment. The tension grows when we look at our greatest traumas and ask, did I authorize this? The answer may be uncomfortable, but perhaps it's necessary. If the soul, in this narrative, is truly the architect of its own destiny, then there are no victim roles without consent. The mystery, then, is not why we live certain experiences, but what for. And it's at this point that everything begins to change. The power is in the question. When existence gains purpose, when old dramas gain meaning, life becomes a continuous revelation. Prepare yourself, because now we will face the deepest conflict of all. Why, after all, do bad things happen to those who least deserve it? The stage is set for the great dilemma of the human condition. Have you ever caught yourself asking, in a low voice or screaming inside, "What did I do to deserve this?" Maybe it was in a hospital room, next to a loved one. Maybe it was in the face of a loss that never made sense. Maybe simply, on an ordinary day, when an unexpected blow shook everything you thought you had under control. Take a deep breath. Let that question echo. It's what unites all of us humans, the desperate search for meaning in pain. After all, what is so much suffering for? Where do our failures, our guilt, the dreams that broke before they could even blossom point to? But what if I told you it's not punishment? It's not bad luck, and in Cayce's logic, it's not divine cruelty. It's a chosen act. Yes, pain, mystics say, is a qualitative tool for evolution. It is the means, not the end. The problem, pay attention, is not suffering, but what you do with the experience. When we look at our scars as mere misfortunes, we become hostages to revolt and resentment. But if we dare to face the possibility that each crisis was written by a deeper part of ourselves, revolt gives way to the hero's question, what is this teaching me? Think about all the times you fell, failed, or were betrayed. Feel, for a few seconds, the weight of these episodes. At the same time, also notice how many of your noblest traits emerged from the most difficult journeys. It's not just joys that make us grow, it's discomfort, loss, fear, the need to start over. If you are living a moment of pain today, instead of asking, "Why me?" pause and risk asking, "What of this will stay with me forever? What can I learn?" The soul, according to Cayce, does not distinguish good or bad as we judge here. It seeks the complete experience, the joy that flows, the pain that teaches. Here's the big turning point. We are not passive victims of a cruel universe, but participants in a broader plan, whose goal is self-knowledge. We were the ones who wrote our main challenges. Think about that. Chance no longer has a place. Suffering stops being a punishment and becomes a tool. Our dramas don't come to destroy. Our falls, in fact, are invitations to transcend fear. And it is here that one of the greatest sources of power and, at the same time, discomfort lies: self-responsibility. Because if it was a previous choice, it's up to you to decide how to react now. The control may not be in what arrives, but without a doubt in how you respond. Here, Cayce makes it clear: suffering is an alarm clock, not a sentence. Can you keep your gaze steady? Because just ahead lies the greatest of all paradoxes. If everything is written, is there really freedom? It's time to advance to the most delicate frontiers of human destiny. Now take a deep breath and ask yourself, with brutal honesty, if your soul really mapped out this plan before being born, where does your free will fit in? The script, as they say, may be written, but the acting is entirely yours. Let's imagine together. Think of the analogy of a big stage. The set is ready, the lights are on, the characters are distributed. In the bigger script, some scenes seem defined: meetings, partings, tragedies, illuminated blessings. But in every line, in every choice, in every look, your freedom is absolutely intact. So here's the true mystery. Destiny and free will are not opposites. They are partners in a delicate dance, in a deep harmony. Destiny is the chessboard, free will, the move. Destiny is the melody, free will, the improvisation of the passionate musician. This tension between what has already been predetermined and what can be changed now deeply activates our mind. The human brain is driven by real dilemmas. We seek to control everything because, deep down, we fear helplessness. However, it is exactly in doubt, in the anguish of choice, that our greatest power lies. The philosophical question that ignites the soul is, if part of me already knew about these pains, why do I still get lost? Why do I make so many mistakes? Why do I so often flee from the same challenges? Because in the theater of life, each scene takes on new colors as our attitude towards it changes. The soul's plan is like a skeleton. The muscles, the gestures, the look, all of that is your choice, here and now. No biography is closed until the final scene. The way you react, forgive, insist, or give up is a unique, very personal, real-time decision. Destiny proposes, free will disposes. Many feel a chill in their belly, an almost unbearable anguish at the idea that everything, even tragedies, could have been choices of our essence. It makes you want to run away, to deny it. But what if it's precisely this dignity, this ultimate power to decide, that is our greatest gift? You are not trapped by anything. The script may contain the big acts, but every detail will never be written without your daily authorization. You are always, every second, at emotional crossroads, holding grudges or forgiving, feeding fear or cultivating hope, running from love or risking it again. This is the true meaning of freedom. Listen well. No past condemns you. No pain paralyzes you forever unless you allow it. The game only ends when we choose to transform. Now answer mentally. In what part of your life do you feel you are reliving the same lesson for the 1000th time? What did your destiny propose, and what can your free will now transcend? We are about to unravel together the deepest connection between soul, sleep, and the spiritual world. If so far this script has touched on some intimate truth for you, share your most existential doubt in the comments. And remember, your participation makes all the difference for the growth of this community. More questions will come, and answers too. Don't stop now. Come with me. The dive is just beginning. Every night you die a little. Have you ever stopped to think about that? The body rests on the bed, the eyes close, and then you cross an invisible portal. The physical world dissolves. There is no longer a clock, identity, external noise. Only you remain, and a universe in silence. During this time, dreams emerge, scenes come to life. Unknown sensations invade the mind. What is all this? Edgar Cayce said that sleep is not just rest, it is a return. While the body rests in matter, the soul moves to subtler regions. The conscious mind falls asleep, but consciousness, that eternal part, awakens on another plane. Sleep, according to Cayce, is a sacred state. It is the tunnel through which the soul revisits its origin. A silent, nocturnal, and constant reminder that you are more than this limited body. And more importantly, during sleep, you are not alone. There are secret encounters, messages and symbols, gentle guidance that would never reach the awakened rational mind. Has it happened to you? Waking up with a feeling you can't explain, as if you had received an answer. As if someone inside or outside of you had handed you a truth on the pillow. This is not madness. It is practical spirituality. Neurology even tries to explain it with graphs and electrical impulses. But there's something no exam can capture. The energetic mark of a dream that carries, not a repressed desire, but an instructive message, a message from the soul. Cayce said, "Dreams are letters sent by the soul to its own address." Every night you dive into parallel realities where you can meet guides, revisit karmic moments, rehearse future decisions. Yes, sometimes you dream of the future. Other times you heal your past. That's why ancient traditions call sleep the little death. Because by sleeping, you reconnect to the world you came from and to where you will return. A secret bridge between the two worlds, the visible and the invisible. You touch the eternal. And that's why, according to Cayce, this portal needs listening. Ask a question before you sleep. Silence the mind. And in the morning, write it down. Dreams are not random. They are not noise. They are veiled answers. Think about it. How many times has your intuition saved you? Where did that certainty that something was or was not right come from? Why do certain names, faces, or places appear to us in dreams with such clarity, even if never seen in real life? The soul speaks without words, but you need to learn to listen to it in its own language. People who access their dreams as temples live connected to the source. They don't go through life sleeping while awake. So before the next sleep, propose a ritual to yourself. Sit in the dark, close your eyes, and ask your soul, what do I need to know? What is waiting for me when I close my eyes? This small practice can open gigantic internal portals. You just need to remember that you already know the way. But if it is in sleep that we access the source of wisdom, it is in wakefulness, in the daily facing of existence, that we are tested. And that's where we will now understand why suffering is the most silent and most effective teacher. Stop for a moment and visualize your own life as a road with specific milestones. Don't just think about the moments of glory, but review what hurt the most. Those episodes you would never want to relive. losses, betrayals, disappointments, anguish, those events that broke your heart in half. Now ask yourself, who would I be without these experiences? It's hard to admit, but it's true. Many of our greatest virtues are not born from joy. They are born from pain, from overcoming, from losing everything and finding something even greater. Cayce taught that for the soul, comfort doesn't matter. Learning matters. Life, from this point of view, is a school. And the soul is a student enthusiastic to evolve, even through arduous paths. Here follows the same ancient archetype that lives in myths of all times, the wounded hero. The one who, before becoming a master, crosses the dark valley, faces their inner monsters, and returns transformed, not to escape pain, but to guide it to wisdom. In pain, we learn humility. In fear, we learn faith. In loss, we recognize the value of what we have. In abandonment, we discover our forgotten strength. In loneliness, the soul finally listens to itself. You know that phrase, "Why is this happening to me? It needs to change." Cayce proposes that the correct question is, what is my soul trying to teach me with this? The modern world tries to avoid pain at all costs. It anesthetizes with distractions, consumption, speed. But the soul operates in silence, and when the body silences, the inner cry emerges. The more we resist the lesson, the longer the cycle repeats. That's why certain situations, people, and emotions come to the surface countless times. It's not bad luck, it's the universe's pedagogical persistence. The repetition only ceases when the lesson is finally integrated. And it's no coincidence. Those people we admire most, for their compassion, their resilience, their wisdom, share personal journeys riddled with pain, and they transformed each wound into a portal of empathy and truth, because the soul learns more in darkness than in constant light. The soul does not distinguish good or bad, only what is necessary. Engrave this phrase, it changes everything. Your life is not wrong. It is carefully structured, even in your worst days, to expand your consciousness. When you remove the label of suffering and see a hidden opportunity, you activate a dormant power, that of transcendence. You can transform the raw matter of trauma into a sacred construction, but only if you accept the role of a brave learner, no longer a victim of the plot, but a co-creator of your own inner evolution. When pain arrives, the question should not be, when will this end? But who can I become from this? Let this question germinate in your chest before we move on, because you are about to meet faces that perhaps you already know from other eras. What if that love that left returned in another body? What if the greatest rival in your life was in fact your former master? What if that person who abandoned you with pain was, before you were born, your soul sister, with whom you agreed, somewhere in time, on this necessary breakup? Breathe calmly. This idea is confusing, but it also frees you. According to Edgar Cayce, the soul never lives just once. It recycles, in cycles, in a spiral, incarnating sometimes as a man, sometimes as a woman, sometimes rich, sometimes poor, sometimes wise, sometimes ignorant. In each life, it chooses different characters, scenarios, and challenges, but with the same objective, to complete its own construction. It's not about punishment, but about spiritual pedagogy. The soul returns to settle what it left open, to tie up loose ends, to close cycles, to meet again those it needs to, and forgive those who were too marked. And it is in this reunion that one of the most intense themes arises: karmic soulmates. Contrary to commercial romanticism, Cayce does not describe soulmates as lost halves in search of happily ever after. He reveals something else, that certain souls have walked together for centuries, sometimes as parents and children, sometimes as lovers, sometimes as siblings, sometimes as enemies, and that they make agreements for encounters before incarnation. Every soul that passes through you, especially those that leave a mark with pain, may be linked to other previous stories. Memorize this: not every reunion is sweet, but all have a purpose. The karmic soulmate does not appear to complete you. They come to make you remember. They come to activate memories, strengths, cracks, and fears forgotten in other lives. You recognize them in their gaze. They provoke you, change you, confront you. They are mirrors of your fragmented essence. The intense attraction, the inexplicable discomfort, the impression of "I already know this person" are all signs. Invisible ties operating on planes that your conscious mind still doesn't understand, but your soul does. Sometimes, the greatest loves of your life come back as your greatest nemeses. Why? because the soul needs to experience both sides of the bond. It needs to remember, undo, or redeem something. Karma here is not punishment. It is a sacred opportunity for mutual healing. You may meet again someone who destroyed you, not to relive the pain, but to finally choose a new ending. It may be someone who has returned to ask for your forgiveness through new eyes. It might be you who owes this to the other's soul, and not realizing it is losing a rare chance for liberation. Therefore, look with more presence at the intense encounters in your life. Don't dismiss anyone as a problem. Maybe the villain now was your savior in another existence. Maybe you are writing the final page of a book together that began centuries ago. Cayce teaches, recognizing these relationships is not for dependence. It is a key to freedom. When we understand that nothing is by chance, and no one enters our life without meaning, judgments fall away, the revolt dissolves, and then something much more powerful sprouts: compassion. You don't need to remember the past with perfection, but you can learn to listen to the present with wisdom. At each reunion, something in your heart whispers, "We've been here before." Listen to that. And the question now changes. Who are you trying to heal in this life? Who do you need to forgive to definitively end old cycles? And more importantly, who do you still need to become to not repeat the same lessons? Breathe, because in the next step of this journey, you will be challenged to face the weight and the freedom of the greatest power you have ever had. To rewrite your own destiny. Consciousness is awakening. Stay with me. No excuses, no culprits, no chains. This may be the hardest part to accept and also the most liberating. If everything you've lived through so far was, to some extent, your choice, then the inevitable question comes, what is stopping you now? Take a deep breath. Edgar Cayce did not preach a blind and immutable destiny. He was emphatic in teaching that the spiritual script is a guideline, not a prison. The experiences are planned beforehand, yes, but the way you live each of these passages is up to you. Destiny proposes. It is your consciousness that responds. This consciousness you have now is the same consciousness that, before being born, chose the milestones of your path. Only there, on the other side, without ego, without attachment, without fear, there your soul knew exactly what it needed to experience to grow. Here, things get mixed up, but even so, the compass was never lost. It's inside you, since forever. Think of this metaphor. Imagine an author who wrote the first version of a novel about his own life. He designed plots, tensions, loves, and losses. He planned intense chapters, complex characters, emotional twists, but he didn't finish the book. He intentionally left the last pages blank. Why? Because he knew that, the moment the character you awakened to their true nature, they would have the power to rewrite the ending with full lucidity. You are living that part of the story now. Transformation happens not when the facts change, but when your way of looking at them changes. Not when you erase the past, but when you illuminate the purpose of what was lived. Every hidden pain, every buried trauma, can be fertile ground for a new you to be reborn. But this requires courage. Total responsibility demands that you stop looking for culprits on the outside. It's no longer about what they did to you. It's about what you will do with what they did to you. Full self-responsibility is frightening because it dissolves the role of victim. But it also reveals the greatest power of the human being, to heal, transcend, and start over without asking the world for permission. As Cayce said, the script is yours. Only you can rewrite it. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made, how many times you've fallen, how many relationships have failed, or how many dreams you abandoned along the way. At any moment, you can declare, enough. From this point, I choose differently. And a new story begins, one that is born from the encounter between destiny and conscious action. You are not late. You are not broken. You are exactly at the point where your evolution asks for presence, but only you can give that to yourself. So ask yourself, what in your current life is waiting for you to fully take charge? What part of your story is asking for a conscious decision? A yes, a no, and enough. Or maybe forgiveness. You no longer need to wait for anyone, because change doesn't come from outside. It never did. What traps you are not the facts. They are the meanings you give to them. And if you look at yourself in the mirror now and say, with all the firmness of your soul, from today on, I choose to rewrite, reality will begin step by step to bend to this new frequency. Free will is humanity's most neglected divine tool, a huge gift ignored every day out of fear. But enough. It's time to use it. Prepare yourself now for the most subtle and most impactful moment of this entire journey, the final judgment, but not as you think. It is deeper, more intimate, and absolutely definitive. Death, the great frontier. Just hearing that word, many hesitate, tremble, run away. But Cayce did not see an end in it. He saw a mirror. According to his spiritual visions, at the moment of death, the soul is not taken to a divine court, nor does it stand before a throne to be punished or rewarded. None of that. In absolute silence, the soul finds itself before itself and watches a movie, the movie of life. See this in your mind, a huge screen where you review your entire journey, not the way you remember, but the way it actually happened, in detail. You feel in your spiritual body all the emotions you provoked in others, the good you did, but also the harm you didn't see, the healing words you offered, and also the silences that hurt. Every gesture, every choice, every omission or impulse reverberates. There is no punishment, there are no medals, just consciousness. This is the true judgment, and there is no way to lie, omit, or manipulate the narrative. Because there you see with the eyes of the soul, the veil of the ego falls, everything is fully revealed and understood. You see yourself with absolute empathy, without masks, and at that moment you are not punished. You feel, you understand, and then you decide. You decide what you still need to learn, what you need to heal, what you want to experience differently. And so you choose a new return, a new plot, a new chance. That's why Cayce said that there is no eternal hell. Hell is the temporary state of those who carry guilt without integration. And paradise is not a fixed place, but a condition of awakened consciousness. What makes your soul evolve is not being good or bad. It's being conscious. This movie already exists, and while you live, it is being edited in real time. You are the protagonist, the director, the screenwriter, and the audience all at the same time. And the most incredible thing, if you have the courage to review this movie while still alive, you can change your plot before the end. You can forgive while there is still time. You can love before absence. You can change a destiny that would seem tragic. You can say what needs to be said to those who matter most. You can shorten the number of necessary reincarnations with just one deep taking of consciousness. The true final judgment is today. Now, with every decision made with presence. And you, what are you doing with your days? Think about it. Breathe, because now we have reached the most important moment of this journey, the call to transformation. You don't have to wait to die to see the truth. It is pulsating now, right there inside you. This video may end in a few minutes, but what began inside you has no end point. Your soul is alive. It is speaking. It has been waiting for so many lives for you to truly listen. There is no more time to live anesthetized. There is no more room to outsource your consciousness. The time has come to break the inner silence, the one you knew since childhood, but were afraid to access. Cayce invites us, more than just to understand the soul, to dialogue with it. How to do that? Simple. Create your own ritual. When you wake up, even before looking at your phone, sit down, breathe, close your eyes, and ask a simple question. What does my soul want to learn today? Ask this every day. Don't expect a voice from beyond, just trust. The answers will come in synchronicities, dreams, phrases that cross your path, and little by little, your external reality will begin to reflect the internal alignment that you started at this exact moment. Because the soul only needs this, an invitation to listen. You need more than spiritual content. You need to become an experience of all this. Integrate, embody, live with presence. And if you got here, it wasn't by chance. It was an answer, an echo, a reminder from another time, a gift from your higher self to this you who was too asleep. Now, get up. Decide to live differently. Write a new script. And remember, every time you choose to act with consciousness, compassion, and truth, you evolve all previous lives toward the divine being you already are. And if this video touched something inside you, if it stirred up memories, emotions, or decisions, don't let it die in oblivion. Share. Comment down below now. What was the biggest revelation this story brought you? What part of your soul woke up? Like this video and send it to someone who needs exactly this message. Help this call reach more ready consciousnesses. And of course, subscribe to the channel to receive all the next deep dives with the depth your soul deserves. Because this here is not just content. It is transformation. It is life. It is the soul in an awakened state. You are ready, and the universe already knows it. Captions will still be written, encounters will still happen, and your journey has just begun to make more sense than ever. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like to get access to more stories like this. Wake up, look within, and say, I remember and I choose.